welcome to Overtime the podcast. Overtime is a podcast dedicated to all things watches, particularly in the micro-brand and affordable range. I'm Praka, and this is my co-host, Justin.
We are two watch enthusiasts based out of Perth, Western Australia. Join us as we discuss our thoughts on new releases, share our personal experiences, and offer our insights on building a collection.
Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey, Overtime will keep you entertained with informative insights and casual conversations.
Let's get started.
So, Justin, how you going, mate?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good for a Monday morning. Yep, we're still morning. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of time off every now and again. So, as we can, we in our busy schedules, we'll try and fit in a recording here and there, and just so it worked out to be today's the day.
Yeah, different for me on the lunch break now. I think it started about 5:10 this morning, so almost done with the day. But yeah, good to do something different on my lunch break other than stuff my face.
Yeah, nice. Be a bit more efficient, I guess.
That's it. Stuff my face after.
That's it. Oh, mate. Well, look, what do you call it? It feels like it's been a little while, but I don't think it actually has. I think it's just been because we've been busy with life stuff. I haven't really gotten to the watches lately. But before we kick off this episode, let's do our usual wrist checks. What do you got on your wrist today, mate?
Today, working from home, I went with the Casio Edifice Chronograph. I think I've spoke about this before. It's one of the first watches I kind of bought myself, which was outside of the kind of, what do you call it, fashion watch realm. Yes, I think that this was bought in 2014, I think. So we're coming up on 10 years. It was probably around October, I think. I remember it was around the time I finished my apprenticeship, and this $210 Casio was how I treated myself back then. Wish it was still the same now because it was quite cheap for what I think is good quality. But yeah, it's been good. I used to wear it to work before I got into the watch hobby properly. Used to wear it to work every single day. It's big, it's ugly, it's a stainless steel integrated bracelet. Huge. I don't even know the mils on it, but I'd say it's pushing like 46 or something.
Nice.
It's real chunky.
Chunky boy.
Yeah, it's real big. But yeah, it's a black dial. The sub dials are all in this kind of metallic blue. They've kind of gone for that heated blue, but a little bit lighter than your heated blue traditionally. And the bezel is a kind of tacky bezel. It's black, and then there's also some of that heated blue on there as well, which feels like it's to give it some grip, even though it does not rotate. But yeah, I still enjoy wearing this one. It was cool to find it when I did, because I kind of forgot it existed for some time.
Yes, I remember that episode where we spoke about that watch, and we were like, just clearing some stuff out and found this watch. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I do enjoy wearing it too. It's an extremely legible watch. I don't know if you can see it there, but yeah, like white on black, it's big.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But yeah, I think it'll be the one that literally will be in the collection forever, because it holds very fond memories.
Of course, yeah. Now that blue is awesome. And
it is a good blue.
You are in your blue watch era, so.
And it just reminds me when it was so easy to pick something, because you just picked it. No, like watch collecting, it was so easy, because I just went to the shop. I think it was a Prouds, and I think it was Midland. I looked at it. I didn't look at anything else in the window. I was like, that is calling out to me, and I didn't really care about the price at the time, unless it was going to be a couple of grand or something as a 19-year-old. But yeah, it was it sung out. I picked it. I had no issues with it, and I only put it down when I started buying the Seiko divers and went down that rabbit hole. So I'm glad I still get to wear it and didn't sell it.
Nice, very cool.
What about yourself? What's on the wrist?
I have a chronograph as well today. I'm not sure if we spoke about this in the podcast yet, but this is the Brew Metric Chrono in the PVD, all black and orange, and very, very much the Porsche. What do you call it? The Porsche colors, or the Monza, that kind of colors inspired. Yeah, picked this up not too long ago now. Yeah, loving it. It's been a while since I've had a PVD black, full PVD gunmetal case in my collection. I think we spoke about this a while ago. I think my very first watch that I've had as an adult was the Kenneth Cole all black gunmetal watch, which was my only watch for years as well. So funnily enough, similar to this. And yeah, it's just nice to add something like that again. And I think I sort of moved away from that color scheme because I was like, oh, I don't really,
Hmm.
but I don't know, having it on works. I think it works pretty well.
I think it works with you. Yeah, your
Yeah,
complexion, it definitely goes well on your wrist.
and and it fits really well. Like it's 39,
Yeah.
38.5, I think, or 39 case, and obviously that sort of square, sort of rectangular style, and the integrated bracelet as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just it's been I've been you and I know, I love coffee. You love coffee.
Mm.
Brew's a brand that I've admired for many years, and it's just taken a while to get one, and I'm glad I have now and one in the collection, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's rare to see one come up locally because you got it in Perth face to
I
face. So
did.
it's pretty rare to see that come across. I think I said to you last, I spoke to someone a couple of years ago who wanted some phenomenal amount over retail for the brew that was in Perth, and it wasn't going to
Yeah,
happen for me, but good
yeah.
luck to him.
No,
But yeah,
this
very cool that it was
was
face to face.
face to face, nice bloke as well. Had a good chat, and he had a what did he have on his wrist? I think he had a Laurier. That's it. He had a
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
a Laurier Hyperion
So
GMT,
he's into
which
it. He's in the space.
is in the rabbit hole. Yeah, maybe not quite as much as us, but definitely had some pretty cool pieces. So yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, thank you very much for that. And yeah, no, enjoying this today. And yeah,
Oh, very
no,
cool.
very cool. All right, well, let's get into the episode, shall we? So, look, yeah, we've seen these sort of things in YouTube, really, these sort of tier list episodes. So, obviously, if you're listening to this episode, you're reading the title of this episode. So, basically, today we're gonna do a tier list, a watch tier list. This has been, it always pops up on YouTube. Big YouTubers do it all the time. They rank different watch brands, or they rank different things in the standard tier list system. So you got your S, which is right at the top, which I found out just before this episode doesn't means sugoi, which is Japanese for, I think, like super or amazing or incredible. So
Top
that's
tier.
that's it, top tier. So you got your S, which is top tier, A, B, C, and D, which is bottom, right at the bottom. So very simple. Justin and I, we're just going to call out different brands, and we're going to have a bit of chat about it, and we're going to rank them. And at the end of it all, we'll be putting the actual tier list up on the show notes so that yeah, you guys can play along and let us know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Yeah, and I guess, no further ado, let's kick it off. Justin, you're up first, mate. What's your first
Yeah.
brand?
Let's just continue on from the next episode, and we're going to kick off with Hublot. I'm not done ranting. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole on Hublot after that because I had a few responses after the last episode where we spoke about the Big Bang Sapphire mess and whatever it was. A few people messaged me, and I decided to go back and look into a bit of Hublot history and whatnot. And I think it's been a bit of a crap show for a while in Hublot. I've never really paid him any attention. I tried on some graffitied piece of Hublot at Watches of Switzerland on Murray Street here in Perth, and it did nothing for me. It was just when I was trying on my tutor, they said, have a look at everything. And I said, well, that's an interesting piece. Let me try that on. But just going back, even to like the Big Bangs, I guess the origin, what the first one was, just the stainless steel black dial. It's not a good looking watch to begin with. And then, I mean, I'm sorry if anyone owns one, but it's my opinion. Do your thing. If
Yeah,
you love
of
Hublot, you
course.
love Hublot. But yeah, in my opinion, it's gotten worse and worse over time, but it never started out great. So for me, it's going to be a big D, and if there was an E, it would be an E.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't put it any higher than a B, that's for sure. Just straight off the bat. Look, I think Hublot, we spoke to it death about this last week. Obviously, we said it's just one of those brands that is so divisive, doesn't offer a lot of value for money. I mean, look, when you're paying this kind of money, you're not really looking for value for money. You're looking for something different. A lot of their watches just ugly or just sort of inspired by other watches, or so it seems anyway. Look,
Yeah.
I'll give him a, I would say D if they weren't very groundbreaking with the materials research. I know that one thing that Hublot gets I think gets a bit of unfair flack, or they don't get credit for, is the fact that they one of the first companies, or they always put in like new materials,
Yeah.
all the different ceramics, and they're always, playing around with different materials, and I almost always I think maybe I'm not quite right, but I know that they're always one of the forefront, companies to put in those materials into their watches. So maybe not a D. I would probably say C, unless you can convince me otherwise.
Well, to convince you otherwise, I'm not going to say any words. I'm just going to say go look at the catalog and tell me it's not a D. But and I will, in their defense as well, something that's very cool on their website at the moment, which I found the other day, was they have made the world's first sapphire crystal pocket watch. It's actually quite cool. It does what that Hublot that we spoke about last week was supposed to do a lot better. It looks like an old Digivice from Digimon as well. There was in one of the generations of Digimon, it's that kind of shape, but it is quite cool. Maybe not the chain, but I do like it.
Is this the Arsham droplet?
That's the one. Yep.
Okay. You know what that looks like?
What?
This doesn't help that case. What do you call it? Whiteout? And the ones that you pull?
Oh, that you run along the table. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an A. Yeah.
So you reckon?
It does, yeah. When you put it on its side and this rotating image is happening, it does look like whiteout. Yeah, you're right.
It's whiteout. Well, you know what? Let's do it.
It's the next idea: whiteout crystal stopwatch, and charge whatever you want for it.
I think Hublot is a D. Then we're just disrespecting Hublot. But
I don't know. I don't like to like jump on the bandwagon with things usually. And looking into Hublot comments, yeah, a lot of it was a bit of bandwagon. I mean, sorry, YouTube videos. There was a lot of bandwagoning on that, but I think it's very warranted.
Yeah.
I just, looking at their kind of lineup here from the HP, it just looks like Jacob and Co. knockoff stuff. Some of the shape stuff, it looks like a copy and paste of something else every time. The Sega design that we spoke about last week, while we spoke about Hublot, looks a lot better than this. Classic Fusion, nothing. Big Bang, nothing. And then, this novelty section, there's a lot of novelty in there, and not a lot of it sings out to me, especially when you're looking at 70 grand for some of these pieces.
Yeah. No, look, I'm happy with a C or a D, but because you're the one who brought it up, you tell me the final one, we'll put it in there.
We'll go D. Just like looking at this original yellow gold classic Fusion 29mm, 26 grand. It looks like something you go into Culture Kings or City Beach and buy for under $100 on special. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and for everyone that's not in Australia, Culture King, City Beach, there's a sort of, I guess, like clothing shops that also sell,
knockoff jewelry and watches that are they're fashion watches. They sell you Nixons and they do sell G-Shocks and stuff as well. Yeah. But usually your surfy kind of brands.
That's right. So not really the same space as $240,000 or $270,000 US dollar watches. So nice, very nice. We kicked it off with
it's out the way,
bang, literally. All right, so I'm going to go from one extreme to something, something just a bit, I guess a bit more mellow, a bit more chilled. I'm going to go with a micro brand. I'm going to go with Studio Underdog. Yes, Studio Underdog. So Studio Underdog is a micro brand, obviously. It started off with their chronographs, which was, they had the watermelon, they had the chocolate mint chip, and just really, really fun, playful colors. Yeah. And they went from that to, I guess now they got a field watch, which again is pretty cool, really nice design. I think anyway, it's not too much different to what they normally have, but very cool elements and things to it as well. But the brand owner Richard seems like a really nice guy. He always and they have a cool way they sell, the way they sell watches, where they normally, I guess they have like windows, and then you buy in that window, and it's not if everyone orders that window, that's it. And they're also discourage flippers by, if someone puts up I don't know how they actually do it, but they seem to somehow do it. Cancel.
I've always wanted this, yeah.
Yeah, so somehow, I don't know, whether through IP addresses or email addresses or something, they find out, hey, this person's flipping, and then they cancel their order. So which is,
it's so good.
It's great, I think, for enthusiasts, but some people might be like, hey, it's my money, I'm buying a watch, I can do whatever I want with it. So we'll remember that point. We'll come back to that one, the whole money thing.
Yeah.
So that's all the positives, I think. Good design, everything else. Now, the
I
thing
do
that
think
I,
a
yeah,
massive positive on
yeah,
them as well is that they do listen to the community. Like you see them in the forums, they listen to a fair bit of feedback and criticism.
yeah,
Like when the pizza watch came out.
yes,
Well, that was an April Fool's thing, but it came to fruition eventually. But there was a lot of people saying we want this, we want this, we want this, and they gave it to the community, which I think is cool.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it is. It's an awesome. Yeah, it's definitely driven by that, and that I mean that's really, I guess, what about micro brands, right? You want to be listening and talking to the community because that's really where you sell your watches, really in micro brands. You're not really
Yeah,
walking down the high streets or you know ADs to buy these things. Well, Time and Tide now in Melbourne in
yeah, true, true.
Australia are stocking it, but yeah. So one thing that I'm not so impressed about them is, I guess, the movement in what they've got in their chronograph versus the price that they're charging for the chronograph. We're looking at about
Yeah,
£500. So £500, that's the equivalent of what's that? We're looking at about almost a grand Australian dollars, right? 965 Aussie
yeah.
dollars. And it just uses the ST. So,
1901, I think.
yeah, that's it. ST 1901 movement, which is don't get me wrong, great column wheel. It's a column wheel chronograph movement. Yeah, so it's an
Mhm.
automatic chronograph movement. I'm not sure if it actually is a column wheel, but it is an automatic chronograph movement. Yes, it is column wheel, based on the Venus Swiss movement from all that time ago. These movements bring automatic chronographs to a very affordable tier, which is great. However, they're known for a high failure rate. They're just known for a high failure rate because the design in itself is quite is an old movement, and to be honest, it's not I don't, from what I hear is that it's got a high failure rate. I know someone locally that has the Seagull 1963, which is
Yep.
the watch that has that movement, which is and you can pick these up for about 200, 250 Aussie dollars, sometimes
Mm.
even cheaper, sometimes a little bit more. Like, it is a very affordable watch. And let's be honest, it isn't much different to the watch that you're getting. Yes, it's a different design, right? They're different colors, it's funky, it's awesome, but you're looking at a difference of about $800, like 4x, almost 4x the amount for what you essentially is a very similar watch. Because the Seagull 1963, there's all sorts of colorways. It's not just the
Mm.
original. You've got pandas, you've got this, you've got that. You just got everything. So you can,
There's a
if you
lot of
wanted
history
to.
there too.
And
Heaps of
there
history there.
and there's a lot of history. I mean, I think, Chinese watches are slept on, I think in
Hmm.
general. I think I'm sort of, I don't have enough exposure yet as either. But really, that's you go to AliExpress and you can pick up these for really, affordable prices. And overall, it's the same movement. It's the cases are probably made in the same area, maybe not the same factory, but same, it's still in China. Yes, it's assembled in Great Britain, is my understanding. I'm not sure actually.
Yep.
I don't know if this first one is. I know their second series is. Oh no, they're sorry, I'll take that back. They are assembled in Great Britain. So you do
They
have
are. Yep.
that sort of thing. But 4x, it's like it's a lot. I think it's a lot for just really, I guess, the color. But Ben saying that it is unique, and I don't know, is there another chronograph movement they could use? I don't know.
In my head as well, I think they're trying to make some money on it. They're going to fund whatever's coming next. They want to step
Yeah.
it up again, and their second release.
Mm,
And to be fair, like we've spoken about this as well, the Pink Lemonade Series 2, gorgeous looking watch, but there isn't a huge amount of difference between what you're getting in
mm,
comparison to the Series 1. Like it's very in the same vein. The dials are kind of the same to a way.
yeah.
The case is very similar. I don't think there's a huge jump there. So if you're going up a tier because you're charging more for that first watch, and I mean the watermelon as well, that first series dropped during COVID, I think, as
Yeah.
well.
I think so.
And that was when it was bonkers. So they've probably maybe played the market to their advantage a bit there, where people were paying a fortune for everything because everyone was cooped up and
Mm.
getting COVID payments as well. And yeah, that's the world it was. It has changed now. But I like the watch. I do like the Series 1 and 2, and I do like the brand a lot.
Mm.
I just do think the markup is a bit much on both of them as well. I think the other
Yeah.
one is an SW, some
Uh,
sort of move, I think.
I
And
think it
even
is Salida, yeah, hand wine Salida, if I'm correct. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Yes, I guess that's a little there you go, a little, your pet peeve about the website. It tells you
yeah,
a lot about the watch. I mean, it looks cool, but it's hard to find the details. Oh, there we go. I did find it. It just took me a little while. So yes, it
yeah,
is an SW 210-1, so hand wine Salida movement, which is I guess a step up from the previous thing. But then
yes.
it's the price has stepped up to £800 as well.
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting quite a big jump there. And I think there is a fair bit out there of that using that SW210 movement that
Yes.
is below that price as well.
Yep. Yep.
I'm trying to think. I can't name a couple off the top of my head, but I know we've spoke about that movement before and watches in that. And I do think it is a little bit overpriced, but they're doing well. They're doing their thing. So they're
Yeah.
obviously doing something right.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's a couple of watches out there like that. I think I was looking at a Stoa, a German
Yep.
watch that was recently actually the Stoa Marine 36, which is very similar in many ways. It's
Hmm.
a what do you call it? It's a 36
Pilots.
mil field
Yeah.
watch, so you could say something similar. And it was about, it wasn't £800, that's for sure. It was
Yeah.
less than
Yeah.
that. So anyway, that's what you get. It does have a unique design and stuff. So
And do your thing. If you can charge it and you're gonna make it and you can keep
yeah,
supplying it, yeah, go for it.
I agree. I mean, he's got a good market going there, and it's very much, it's not like it's always on sale. They do a batch, and then they're over. They go next series. They go do a batch. So like most micros, I don't think it's sustainable to be always have stock. So that said, let's go to the tier list then. What are we putting in them? So for me, I think that it's funny, right? Because we're just putting all the brands together. We don't have
Yeah. Yeah.
different things. Look, I think they're good. They're very good, but I think there's definitely some flaws in there. I would put them in a B.
B was what I was going to say. I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of room and they're only new as well, so there is that. Time will tell. But
Yeah.
yeah. B's pretty comfy fit, I think.
Cool. Done. There you go. Not too controversial then.
No, no. All right. So let's go. I had on my list next. I went with Citizen.
Okay.
I feel like we've spoken a lot about Citizen. I feel in the start of my collecting, Citizen was something I steered away from because I just used to look in the window and didn't really enjoy what was going on. The price point was always the attraction, but I feel like as time's gone on in being in the hobby, Citizen's really coming out of their shell. They're really leaning into their like all other brands as well. Don't get me wrong, but they're leaning into their back catalog for things. They're also coming out with new things. They're not just following one trend of color. They're kind of going to smaller divers. They're going with integrated. They're doing a lot of color. They're doing a lot of texture. They're starting to jump up into that more expensive, price bracket with is it the Chrono Master? I think it's called. That watch is a 10 out of 10 for me, but it's good to see them. It's almost like when we spoke about Vermont a couple of weeks ago, they did that whole big swap. It's like Citizens doing a flush of the collection and the catalog and revamping, but doing it the right way. But I really like what Citizens doing. And yeah, having been hands on with them now, I really enjoy the brand for the price point. You're on mute, mate.
It's a bit rusty. Yeah, for sure. I agree there. So I think Citizen, like Seiko in some ways, kept a lot of their awesome watches in Japan, very much
Yes,
JDM
yeah.
focused. I feel like a lot of Japanese company do this. Even cars and the like, all the cool stuff stays in Japan, and that's all you
I
got to get
kind
it.
of like it
Right.
though.
Yeah, I guess it's cool in
It
some
sucks
ways.
for us in the world, but I think it's cool that they kind of keep their cool stuff to themselves. I mean, because I mean, Japanese, they're the
Yeah,
best of refinery and
yeah.
perfection and whatnot. But people do talk a bit of down against the
Mm,
the cheaper Chinese, Japanese, the watches, like we just said.
mm.
But I like that they keep that stuff to themselves. It's
Yeah,
obviously working for them. They've always done it.
exactly. And I mean, in I guess in some ways they realize, hey, look, we have a global market here that we can penetrate with the more expensive stuff. We don't have to just keep peddling the cheap stuff anymore. And we can go up against the big boys. And I think that's a is a good position to be. And like you said, the Chronomaster, like, we were lucky in Perth to have an event, citizen sponsored event last year. Was it a year before? Yeah, it was early
Last
last
year,
year.
yep.
Early last year, yeah. And they showcased some of their watches, and it was fantastic. It was great to get hands on. The Series 8 stuff was
Hmm.
was like cool, and I think there was is it a Tessa, which is like slightly different ones as well. And yeah, it just seemed cool. And obviously the CEOs are now, which is I feel like it's a hit.
Yeah, they're
Obviously
done right. Yep.
the integrated watch trend or whatever you want to call it is still going, right? It hasn't quite
Mm.
stopped. It's fantastic. And yeah, obviously the Chronomaster, which is I think it's a Japanese JDM only, and high accuracy quartz, titanium, like beautiful dials. I mean, that's your Grand Seiko equivalent right there. And
Yep.
Citizen still has it in a more affordable price point as well. And there's, they're still there. They're still going strength to strength. And they've been around since 1918. That's a
Mm.
long time. A lot of Swiss brands, the push is always about, we have heritage. We've done this way. And it's like, yes, but so have Citizen, so have Seiko, so have a lot of these brands. They've got it too. So you can't just use, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
feels like that's not a selling point anymore. You got to do more. Yeah.
I feel there's big things to come with Citizen too. I think they really position themselves between that kind of Seiko,
Mm.
Tissot, looking into your smaller brands like Boulevard, all that. They're playing with textures and patterns and now some other complications as well in some affordable watches. So they're kind of competing with that micro brand space. I
Yeah.
think they've really positioned themselves for a couple of years to absolutely skyrocket
Mm.
up there. But like you just said with the Ciosa, we spoke about the Tissot PRX, when it came out and they said, oh, we're going to do it in 35. Amazing
Yeah.
goal. But Citizen now coming out with those guilloche pattern style dials. They've got small seconds, complications, range, colors. There's different case materials now. I think they're really going to ride the wave, but I think in a good way. On Starbuy, some of those Ciosas only came out a couple of weeks ago on there, the small seconds ones, and they've dropped them, $3.99, $4.99 for the small seconds complications and dial patterns.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, crazy. And yeah, value for money is there. I mean, we always talk about, I mean, people have for many years talked about Seiko as being like, a value for money sort of brand. And I feel like that's just getting less and less with
It's
with with Citizen
yeah,
taking up that space, I think,
it's still value for money, but not
as much as it
as
was.
much. And
Mm.
I think it's getting less and less too. Like I don't think I've ever, apart from recently, been on the Seiko website itself and had a look at, but some of the prices they charge, like retail for Seikos, because I don't really look at them in the shops unless they're on, like you see a special tag, and I
Yes.
never even ask about the retail price, but they are
Yeah.
charging phenomenal amounts of money.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, it must work for them that whole. We'll say this is the retail, and then we're going to sell it for this anyway. Because, but I think after a while, it sort of gets a bit tiring.
Yeah, we know what you're
Having,
doing.
yeah, we get it now. So yeah, I mean, to a lesser extent, Citizen does the same thing as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like value for money wise, Citizen, your Eco Drive, that's like one of the best sort of
Yeah.
solar movement out there. I remember Tag tried to release a
Hmm.
solar movement or like a solar watch, and it just I've heard of all sorts of issues with it. It just didn't go as well as it should have, and the price was ridiculous. But the whole selling point was like, oh, look at this solar movement. It's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, my $100 Citizen Eco Drive can do that a lot
Yeah.
better. Yeah, so
Even in comparison to the Seiko solar models like the SNEs,
yeah,
divers and the what are they, the drivers, speed timers.
yes,
Some of them are
yes,
solar as well. Price point between those, you can pick up a Citizen chronograph on Starbuy for under $200 on one of their good sales, and
yeah.
those other watches from Seiko minimum four
400,
500.
yeah,
Yeah,
400, 500, yeah, yeah,
huge
yeah,
difference.
huge difference, yeah. And I think the eco draft technology is like very good. I mean, I don't understand it enough, but I know that they do some pretty good stuff, and they just look good as well.
They
A lot
do.
of
Yeah.
this, a lot
Yep.
of the solar watches, it's not like I guess we should release a solo watch because, kind of thing. It's like, no, we'll release a solo watch and we'll make it look good. So,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree. I
cool.
think taking all that in, I would also put Citizen into a B as
Okay.
well, because I do think that they've been around for a long time, like you said, but I think they've got a long way to go. And
Okay.
I think they're steering the ship, maybe like a high B going into an A. They're steering the
Mm.
ship in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I'll probably say A or B because we do have an S as well. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I forgot about S.
We do have
Yeah.
an S, so it's not. So I would probably say A if we're
Yeah, I
comparing
agree
to
with
what,
that. Yeah.
yeah, to what
Yeah.
we've been doing so far. So, yeah,
Because I think you also have to remember with Citizen, there's a lot of crap in the catalog too. There is a lot of
yes,
stuff you turn your nose up, but they've
yeah,
got to do it. They're trying to do a wider audience than just us
yeah,
collectors.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right,
Sweet.
all right, okay. So I guess we'll move on to the next one. I'm gonna go and talk about my favorite brand, Rolex.
Uh,
Not, yeah, so that was a
go
bit
for
tongue
it.
in cheek. That was a bit tongue in cheek. Okay. All right. I don't think I need to introduce Rolex. Everyone knows Rolex, right? Rolex is one of those brands that are just universally known, adored, hated, everything. Rolex sort of reminds me of what's that sporting what's that? Is it the New York, is it the
Yankees.
Yankees? Yeah.
Yeah. Marketed to no end.
Marketed to no end. Great. Yes, can be great. But is it as good as everyone says it is? That's the feel that I get. I think, look, there's no denying that their watchmaking prowess. They've been around for the longest, or as in they've been around for a long time. They make good watches, very, very solid watches that people like and people love and people buy. They are the ultimate marketing company. They literally sponsor everything from tennis, golf, you name it, just everything. They are everywhere. I would argue that they're probably the best marketing brand out of any brand, any watch brand. They are.
100%. Yeah.
And I think I would say that the amount of money they spend on marketing is probably way more than they spend on R&D or anything else. Let me just, this is completely not factual. I'm just, this is just my opinion. I think so as well. And it shows, right? I mean, it's in everything. It's in pop culture. It's been around
Yeah.
for the longest time and everyone just knows. And, if you have a nice watch on your wrist, be it any brand, people who don't know about watches are going to walk up to you and go, is that a Rolex? I've
Yeah.
literally people have said that to me, and I'm like, no, it's not a Rolex."
Mm.
But and I think where the company was before, many years ago, they used to make tool watches, proper, dive watches or, explorer watches and people wore them to do things like they climb
Purpose built and
mountains.
purpose bought. Yeah.
Exactly. Purpose built, purpose bought. They used to dive in and you know, you got all these, army guys that, army, navy guys that had watches and, they used to buy them out of, what do you call it? These army stores, PXs or whatever they call them, the American
Yep.
stuff. And, they would buy it for nothing, as in relatively speaking. Like, I think I saw there was a viral clip about this guy in the 60s who bought a Submariner for like $600 or something like that,
Yeah.
or whatever it was. Nothing, relatively nothing. And now it's worth something ridiculous because he kept all his boxing papers and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
really, it's not one of those brands where we go, oh, how do you say it? The price thing. It's not it was so long ago, now it's this. Relatively speaking, in the early 2000s, you could go to a shop and you could go and say, I want the Rolex. And they go, here you go. And you could buy the Rolex. And for a lot less than what it was as well. Like I remember talking to this guy who had an Explorer, one of those polar dial
Yep.
Explorers.
Explorer 2. Yep.
Yeah, that's Explorer 2. So again, don't quote me on when the date was released or whatever. But he just like, yeah, I just bought it from a shop. Like there was no like fanfare about it. There was no, there was nothing, it wasn't like he basically said, I worked on this project. I enjoyed I had a good run and then I bought this watch. It wasn't like I had to go on a waiting list for 5 years and then
Yeah.
and then I got the I got the what do you call it, pleasure of spending my own hard money to
Yeah.
you know like there's nothing like that. And there's a few guys in, the people that I've worked with who've worked in sort of that sort of environment, harsh environments that, they would get that as a bit of a, I guess what do you call it? Something to commemorate their jobs
Yep.
by or something like that. And that's what it always was. I felt like a lot Rolex had that, marketing, like, it's an achievement watch.
Yep.
But it's not that anymore, is it? I
It's
mean,
a,
for
no,
me anyway.
it's a flex. But
It's a flex.
these days, it's a flex.
Yeah.
The fact that you can get one is a flex if you can.
Yeah.
The fact that you're on the list is a flex. You see it. People putting the comments in. You see a wrist shot of a, I don't know, tutor or something.
Yep.
I went in today, came up with this, this tutor that I really, really wanted. Didn't really plan on going in, but it was, they taught me into it. It was great, awesome watch, and I'm now on the list. So being on the list is a flex. The price you pay is a flex. The resale value is a flex. It's all about look at me, and it takes away for me being someone who really did aspire and wanted to work towards owning a Rolex in the past 5 years. It really has now taken away a lot of that. Like you just said, commemorative. That was the plan, of buying one as a commemorative, 30-year-old birthday piece type thing. Job promotional piece, all kind of coming together on the year I'm 30. It took away from that, and I know it shouldn't, because I should buy for what I want as well.
Yep.
But I also, like you just said, I don't want to sit on a wait list. I don't want to spend my money on something else to get on the wait list. I also don't want, that. It sounds odd, but I also don't want to be the Rolex person. and I know it's probably going to piss a few people off too, but I don't want to be that guy. And and look, I got family members who have a Rolex, and he knows what he's got. He knows it's worth a lot. He paid a lot for it and whatnot, but he also wears this solid gold bluesy in the shed working on BSA motorcycles and denting it and scratching it. Like, he does not give a crap about how he treats it. It's not going to, it's going to be there when he goes, and he doesn't care what it looks like at that point in time, because he's not saving it for me or my brother or my kids to pass on as here's a deposit for a house in 10 years time. He's wearing it because he worked hard his whole life and got to buy one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
For me, I'm glad he gets to do something like that, but to me, it's not that anymore.
No, yeah, no, I agree. And look, the whole, the flex culture and just I don't know. For me, that's almost everything that's like, how do you say, almost everything that's wrong with this hobby.
Yeah, I agree.
It takes away from the hobby itself. You're not enjoying the watch anymore. You're not enjoying for what it is. It's it's like a quote unquote investment watch. You buy a watch, you're putting in the safe or whatever it is, and you're showing off, and then you're trying to make money on it, which is fine. I mean, I guess people try and make money on anything, but when the actual company itself engages in that, then it starts getting a bit like, we know that, Rolex sells. Again, don't quote me on this, but they sell like one of the highest amount of models. I think they sell the most units in all the Swiss brands or something like that, or maybe Omega's up there as well. They sell a lot of watches. So to say that, you can't get the watch, it's a waiting list for X number of, but it's artificially restricting who can get the watch. Really, I mean, it is. Let's be honest. If I go up today and, if I had that kind of money to just drop on a Rolex right now, they wouldn't sell that to me. There's no way they'll sell that to me. I would go up and say, hey, I've got this money cash right here. They're like, yeah, come back in 5 years and then maybe we'll see. But the thing is, it's not a time list either. It's literally who you know.
Yeah, what you bought.
What you've bought before, how you build up some sort of credit score in the thing. It's for me, it's like playing a game which I have absolutely no interest in playing. And the thing is, it's suckered in a lot of people as well.
Oh, people like to feel special. That's what it is. You want to get on the list, you can get on the list, but here's how you got to do it.
Yep.
You want the watch, you got to wait this long on the list. And when you get the watch, it's going to be worth way more when you walk out of the shop, and you can have something that everyone wants.
Yep.
And it's this fake, sense of, it's not entitlement, it's not the word, but I don't know, validation, achievement, something like that. Yeah, but it's a real tacky feeling when you're looking from the inside out. Like, oh, look, I was stood in one of the shops here in Perth with Wimbledon a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, a bit more. And I was seriously looking at the price tag of 20 grand or whatever it was, and I was ready to buy it. I was very on the fence. I kind of had those, you get those feelings where you got the butterflies in the stomach. You're going, it's so much money. What else could I do with this money? But I've worked hard for this. And yeah, the decision was made on this. Inflation is wild on this price tag, for one. Two, the Seiko I'm wearing stood in the shop right now tells the same time without the look behind it or the feel behind it. And yeah, I did walk away from that watch because I was like, why am I going to spend this much over retail that I've worked hard for? This is money that I've made from being away from work, away from my family, away from the kids. It didn't, monetary value didn't add up to what I think I held in my hand at all.
Yep.
Not just the physical watch, it was the whole, what you've worked for.
Exactly. And the $20,000, right, you're putting in there. There's really, I mean, again, I can't, this is only speaking from, my experience, which is not a lot with Rolex. So fair enough. If someone in the comments or someone wants to come back and say, hey, but you don't know anything about it, fair enough. All right. This is my opinion. $20,000 can go get you a bespoke, handmade, awesome watch from an independent watchmaker. You've got plenty out there that will make you these fantastic handmade pieces, and you're like, $20,000 for that, for one person who's taken a year to hand make every single pieces. Now that is awesome. That's unique. And the thing is, it's unique, and the labor of love is in there. That this person's time's gone in there. $20,000 all of a sudden doesn't seem like a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
But Rolex, again, this is not taking anything away from them. They are very much like Seiko and Citizen, all that. They're a fully integrated company. They pretty much try and do everything themselves in-house. They are a manufacturing powerhouse. They got their processes down and not a lot of this stuff is handmade, if any. It's all machine. It's all machine made. Most of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. We're not saying there's anything wrong with it, but $20,000 for a fully, automated blah blah that's made there, or $20,000 for this handmade piece of art. I don't know. Are we thinking about it? Are we really thinking about it? So what are you spending that $20,000 on? Are you spending it on what you think is perceived value for money? Or are you thinking, I want someone to know that I have a $20,000 Rolex in my wrist?
Yeah. And that's the thing, sitting at the cafe, I can almost guarantee 0 people in that room know it's a Rolex from where you're sitting as well. There might be maybe one if you're lucky, and they're not even going to say anything to you. I don't think if you just wear it a standard sub. I guess just go back to your point as well. There has been people in recent times talk about the Swiss watch industry and what it is like from the inside. And you can guarantee that it's not just one camp doing it. It's one big camp. There's definitely other companies and whatnot doing it. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot. There's like you said, there's a lot in there, but that's another topic in itself. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this page. We can chuck that in there if you want to, about inflation. I guess the price, an AD table of how the price has gone up over the years, and it's just like I say, there's inflation, and then there's what's that word? Greedflation.
Yeah. And well, look at the certified pre-owned stuff. That's all you need to go and look into to understand what their goal is.
Yeah, exactly. And and I think they got sued by a couple of people in different countries as well about the whole AD games as well. And being accused again, don't come at me, Rolex, but there is reports out there of biasness and people not being given opportunities, and then they get into. But for me, it's like, why even engage in that in the first place? Go spend your money somewhere else, or get it in the pre-owned market maybe later, or I don't know. There's many ways to go about it. But hey, if that's exactly what you want, then you do you, because at the end of the day, you're not going to get a rubbish watch. You are going to get a very good watch. And that's the one thing. You're not paying crazy money for a terrible watch. You are paying good money for a good watch, but there's so much around it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
where's Rolex sit?
Look, I just with all this shenanigans, I just don't think it can go up. And obviously I'm super biased. I have a lot of as you say, I'm not a big fan of all that games. So I'm going to say I'm going to say a B,
Yeah,
because I feel like they do, make, like I said, there's nothing wrong with their watches. They make some really solid watches, proper watches, but all the stuff around it, yeah, doesn't
yeah. It's not about the watch anymore. It's about the look.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree
Cool.
with B. B is good.
All right.
All
Your
right.
go,
Well,
mate.
so I'm gonna go with the brand that is close to my heart as well.
Mm.
Genuinely close to my heart. I'm gonna go in with Zelos. When I say it is close to my heart, it's because I've had a bit of a battle recently with Zelos in my head, and I've for the first time in probably 6 years of collecting not had a Zelos in my collection, which is a bit of a it was a big deal for me. So I have moved on
Mm.
my Nebula to a gentleman over east who was searching for one. It was kind of a meant to be situation, and I took the chance and said it is time to move it on. So I'd had it for nearly 2 years. It had a lot of wrist time. It was probably one of the reasons you and I end up getting together as well and having a chat for the first time because we were talking purple.
Yeah.
It Zelos has had its time in my journey in my collecting for good reason. It was my intro into micros. I've seen it everywhere. Jody from Just One More Watch used to really push the Zelos train for good reason back in the day when the Mako ones and stuff were dropping and Hammerhead ones were out. It was such a cool time to be into micros and into Zelos. The community was amazing. The watches were amazing. The price point was amazing. You really felt like you were getting a very value for money watch for such a low price tag. And even to the day buying the Nebula only 2 years ago, still felt that way. That watch cost me $299 USD. And fair enough, there was only an H35 in it. Very, safe movement to use. The texture on the dial, the sapphire bezel, the bracelet, the case, everything felt way more than what that was worth. And that's not the reason I bought it. I bought it, genuinely because the watch. I've had Swordfish before. I love the purple, love the yellow. On
Mm.
it, it just made its way into my collection based on taste alone. But as of late, I've kind of exited the Zelos groups now, bar one, which I used to be quite involved in. I used to do a lot of posting in them. It's a mess now. It's gone the same way Rolex has, but on a whole different level. It is about flexing in the Zelos world now. What have you got? What is it worth? There's so much arguing in those groups these days. There's so much complaining in those groups these days, and it just takes away from the experience. And that's not the reason I sold the Nebula either. It's not because Zelos groups and the whole thing is going to a bit of the wayside.
Mm.
It's because I'm exiting my color phase of my collecting. The last 3 years have all been about color. It's been lots of color as well, from pearl dials to teal dials to green dials, with the Rado and
Mm.
purple dials. I've had a lot of colors in there. Now I'm kind of refining down to what I like, and what I'm liking is blues, blacks, and whites. I mean, I will keep a little bit of color in the collection for a change, but back to Zelos. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the brand is still doing well, and I think it's going to do well. I just think it got too comfortable, and it got too comfortable in releasing the same thing over and over again and having the people there to buy it, and people started not buying it because there is, believe it or not, there's people out there with every single teal colored watch that Zelos produces, or every single emerald, and then they come out with a bronze case, but you're still just getting the same watch with a
Yeah.
different colorway.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it started to fall by the wayside. The groups got big. Everyone was aware of drop times. People weren't stumbling across the page anymore, and their Instagram and going, "Oh, is this one available? There's 4 pieces left. I'll pick that up for pre-sale price." That just stopped existing. You had to be on there. You had to be ready. For us in Perth, it was you had to be ready at 11 o'clock on the dot. You had
Mm.
to have your details in, or your Apple Pay up. And if you didn't get it, it was too bad, so sad. And for me, it was, I've got 12 other watches in the collection. It doesn't matter. I'm not too fussed. But for other people,
Oh
God,
yeah.
people get so up in arms about it. There's people complain about someone else having 10 Zelos, them only having one because they've missed out. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
It is the way that Elshan chooses to do it, the owner of Zelos.
Mm.
You can't change that. It's in his control. It's his business. Get over it. I understand you're upset, and be upset, but don't go carrying on a Facebook group about it.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
helping anyone or yourself. You're only making yourself angry, because there's always going to be, and I've been that person too before the podcast, because people used to whinge, and I used to be a big supporter of it. So I'd be like, well, there's no issues for me over here in Perth at midnight, staying up and double clicking the side of my iPhone.
Yeah.
I got it. Sorry. I like stirring the pot back then, but I've changed now because it didn't do me any good. Um,
No, there's a lot of how do I say, like a headache and heartache in those releases.
yeah, I just don't understand it. I mean, I do. Be upset because I was upset with the 50 Fathoms release, not to the point where I was commenting on groups. Actually, I did have a chat with Spinner because I did ask him as well, is there going to be a second drop of some kind because of the success? And there was a very polite message back. Yes, possibly. We're thinking about it, and then a congratulations on the success of it. But yeah, there's just no need to call people names or call out a business because it's not working for you. It's only
Yeah,
because it falls into an affordable category and people can't afford these nice, colorful, flashy watches. And when you can't get one and everyone else has got one, you do get
yeah,
that
a bit
FOMO.
of FOMO. Yeah, and look, and I think that's one of the things, well, one of the bad things in this sort of space, in the affordable micro brand sort of space, is that if you miss out, it's like, people get mad, and also, I don't know, we seem more picky. There is a lot out there. There's so much choice.
Yeah.
And also obviously with the rise of the AliExpress brands like San Martin and all that,
Hmm.
which are competing directly with these micro brands space, and who can offer some insane value for money, in terms of specs. Of course, people, they can get upset. So I get that. But look, Zelos is one of the OG micro brands, right? I mean, they've
Yes.
been doing it for so long. Elshan has a system and it works, and he hasn't changed it. He's been in the same formula and it's working for him. Yes, people bitch and moan about it, but at the same time, I think that helps his cause because
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Any publicity is good publicity.
exactly, helps him bring it in,
Yeah.
and you're not the first person who's come out and spoken to me going, say, hey, you know, as my collection's been more refined, or as I'm getting, into the hobby a bit more, I've been selling my Zelosses because hey, they're great, nothing wrong with them, but they're a bit repetitive, bit
Yep.
iterative. I'm done with them now, so I'm going to move them on. And I think, yeah, a bunch of guys I speak to quite often said the same thing to me, and they had plenty of Zelosses, exactly like you. They had
Yep.
all the Zealots, and then they've just gone, no, we're just moving on. So, hey, there's still a market for it, and they're still going well. But yeah, maybe the charm is gone.
I think that, and I do think the community around Zelos has affected the brand. The community, the Zelos resellers are some of the worst resellers on the internet, whether it be Red Bar, Facebook Marketplace, within the groups themselves. They are so vicious with you. If you don't meet there's no negotiating. There's no, reasonable price that it starts off at. Like when I sold the Nebula, look, I sold it, the first watch I've ever sold for more than what it's worth. I put it up. I did feel incredibly guilty about it. I didn't want to do it. I think I remember I was going for a walk. I was having a chat with you on the phone.
Yeah,
I was really, yeah, conflicted about it. But at the same time, it is one of the Zelosses that are still going for over retail. And it was an incredible amount over retail. I think, like I said, I paid 299 USD for it. I sold it for about 650 AUD. Don't know what the USD conversion is there, but a little bit over. The guy who bought it was over the moon with that price because some of them did sell for around $1,000 on
mm,
AWF the previous year. But yeah, the reselling in Zelos is wild. Like, even I've experienced locally here where I've held hammerheads from version 1, 2, and 3, and the price that I was offered for a hammerhead recently, I was just like, oh God. It's just no. There's no justification for me. I understand why you think it's there because it's got a cool dial, it's got a cool colorway, but it's the same case as the last two
yep,
releases. It's the same meteorite as the swordfish, as the Mako. That's all got in it. It's the same colorway, and it's still Zelos. You're not reselling a Formex here or a
no,
Truska here. You are selling a Zelos with an NH35 in it. That's got 200 meters water resistance. It's just a dive
yeah,
watch.
yeah. It's
And
a standard dive watch essentially.
I've said this to people too when they've missed out on watches. Go look at Phoebus. You're going to get them for slightly cheaper than
Mm,
Zelos brand new, readily available a lot of the time. Some of the colorways do disappear quickly, but if you look at their dials and look at some actual wrist shots on Instagram, if you look at hashtag Phoebus, they are very similar. And Phoebus still has its own vein of design that they stay in, but it's still diver, it's still tool. They do it very well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. There are, like I said, there are so many alternatives out there. They are, essentially when they first started up, they were very unique, very different. And I still think there is a lot of point of difference here and there, but
Yep.
there's just less and less. So that saying, I don't have a lot of experience with Zelos. I've seen yours, I've seen others. I don't know why I completely skipped Zelos as one of the brands to get into, which people do if they're in micro brands. But I'll let you tell me, where would you put Zelos in our tier list?
I put it as a C because I
Okay.
think where it's sat in terms of what it brought to the micro brand, community and world as a whole can't be ignored. I think it's done a lot and like I said, back in the day, it was such a cool place to be. Everyone was positive, everyone was happy, everyone was happy for the brand. It was such a vibrant place to be in those forums. But now it's kind of toxic. So I think as a C for now, because I think they are starting to change. They did some cool stuff with the spearfish and with the eagle recently. They're starting to steer in a different direction, but I think they're stuck. I think they're in their same vein. They're with their same customers. They're diehards. Their loyals are always gonna be there
Hmm.
potentially. But I think they brought a lot to the table. They have stuff on the table now, and the table is where it is. It's full. I think it's just staying there.
Cool.
That is not an analogy either. That's some crap I just dribbled.
We'll just call that Justin's what do you
It's
call it?
word vomit.
What
It
struggling there. I'm
made
struggling
sense
to
in my
remember.
head.
It does make sense. It does make sense. Oh, good. All right, let's move on to the next one. Look,
Where do you rate it? Yeah, where do you put it?
I think C is
So yeah,
is fine as well. Like I don't think it's a look. I don't think there's necessarily anything bad about it.
yeah, yeah,
I just think it's just a bit meh for me at the moment now. Anyway, so
yeah,
let's move on to the next one. I'm going to go with a big Swiss brand, Oris. Okay,
yeah. Good
so
choice. Yeah,
Oris, look, Oris is a Swiss brand that's an independent, so they're not owned by any of the big watch groups like Richemont or LVMH or one of those people. And look, they make some pretty cool watches, right? Dive watches, field, what do you call it? Like aviation watches. They have the spread. They've been around since
yep.
1918, yeah, something like that. A long
Huge
time.
history.
They've got a massive history. And I feel like, oh, I'm sorry, 1904. So a long time. They've been around for over,
Yep,
yeah,
120
100 years,
years.
120 years. And they got some fantastic pieces, some really cool, they got something for everyone. And they've also always have this Holstein edition, which is, like a something which
Hmm.
is it's a bit more fun every time that they bring in. And yeah, there's a lot to like about Oris. I think they're positioned in their price point, or they at least was such that they were sort of in between, that they're not quite charging your Omegas or that kind of prices. Well, they were on par with Tag, but I think Tag's overtaken that now in terms of price. They've gone right
They
ahead.
definitely were in the same realm, but I
Yeah.
do think it was a very competitive stepping stone
Yes. Yeah.
opposed to Tag. Like you either went to Mazzucchelli's or you were in the and got yourself a Tag, or you were in the community and you realized that Oris was the buy. That was the kind of two in that realm at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're looking at like what, you know, sort of the 2000 US dollar mark for most of these sort of, your Diver 65s, your Aquases, your, what do you call it, your big crown pointed dates, where I think we're a bit less than that. They were all around that price. And I think, with what you got and specs and everything else, it seemed like I guess, a fairly good value
Mm,
proposition. So in saying that, there's a lot to like about it. Awesome colors, fantastic. They got the cotton candy stuff. They got the
yeah,
laser
materials.
dials, materials. Exactly. They're using bronze. They're using, there's a lot of cool stuff I like about it. And I think this is a great brand to consider if you are looking for that sort of, this is my first quote unquote luxury piece.
Yeah.
I would definitely say yes, this is one of the ones to
You will
consider.
get that feeling from an Oris for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You
and I
you
think just going back to your positives as well, Oris have always been on podcasts, they've always been in YouTube videos, they've always been present in the community. They're at Red Bar events, they're always in the community
Yes.
and they're always listening, they're always collaborating. I think, yeah, Oris is a huge standout player in the watch scene.
Yeah, and they like I said, they're always in events as well. Like and they do a lot of good social stuff around the world as well. They do a lot of
Yep.
obviously a lot of brands do this nowadays anyway. Sort of giving back to sustainability and things. But I think Oris have done some pretty cool stuff in Sydney. They've added this sort
Hmm.
of sort of trash collection thing near the jetty, and it's, the amount of trash they're collecting, which is a bit sad, to be honest. Please don't throw trash into the water, guys. Really don't
Yeah.
do that. Anyway, so there's just some really cool stuff, and I love their social. So they've Oris social clubs all over the world, right? And each of their social clubs have like, their own sort of watches. Or I would love to get one of those, by the way. Just
Yeah, that'd
saying,
be cool.
one of these days. But yeah, look, I think they offer a lot of value for money, maybe, and maybe not in retail, because the thing is, unfortunately, like Seiko and a few other brands, if you are buying it at retail, you are going to lose a lot of money when you sell it. They just don't hold as much value. But then again, you got places like Starbuy and other retailers that do give discounts on Oris when you sell, and then I guess it makes it a bit more, hurt a little bit less when you're selling it later on, if you are thinking of doing
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't always as easy. Like when I bought the Aquas Cherry
Mm.
dial with the relief style bezel, one of my favorite watches to date. It is one that I do regret selling nowadays, but it was too big for me when they came out with the 39.5 mil Cherry. That kind of sung out to me. Maybe one day. But when I bought that, I did have to go to an AD here to get it. There was none in Perth selling on Marketplace or any Facebook groups. It was hard to get, and it was something I really wanted. I did just have to bite the bullet and go and do it. But you do, even when you pay retail, you get a discount. They'll give you a small discount, but you do still feel you're getting value for money in that experience. Arcos has been one of my favorite. That and the Rado Captain Cook have been my favorite divers
Mm.
I've ever kind of had to handle. Even in comparison to the Tudor, the Oris still felt very competitive. Maybe not in terms of movement, but in terms of the watch itself.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I would say the same as well. I had the Diver 65, the
Yep.
Glow, for over a year, until I sold it recently, which I don't know if I quite regret it or not. I'm not sure yet. Time will tell. But I think
Yeah.
I had too many dive watches, and I sort of had to let one of them go. I did really enjoy it when I had it. And yeah, I mean, look, I don't own a Black Bay, but I've handled a few, and handled, I've seen yours, and I've also, and the difference in sort of quality when you feel it and you hold it, it doesn't really feel that much difference, considering the price difference. But obviously, the movement is a big one, like you say.
Yep.
The Tudor's movement is much better movement than what's in these. That's saying that they've got their caliber 400
Yeah.
movements.
Yep.
Oris has, stepped up, and some insane power reserves. Is it 5 days
There's an
in
8
the
days in
caliber?
there for one of them.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think
Maybe
their
there is an 8 day.
standard caliber 400s 5 day power reserve,
Yep.
and they just look really cool. Then again, there's a huge step up in price as well. I mean, looking at your standard Diver 65 around 2.5K or 2K
Hmm.
ish, and then you got your caliber 400s about 4K USD. So it's a big jump between the two. The caliber 400s, there's a couple.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's quite worth it or not, but hey, still a very cool achievement to have.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, Oris sits at an A for me. I think they're
Yeah.
quite an S, but I think they're definitely an A.
Yep. Yep. No, I'm done. I'm not even going to argue with that. I reckon it's a great brand for anyone's considering a
Yep.
Swiss brand to get into. And yeah, again, our tier list is, I just want to add a little disclaimer. You look at our tier list and you got Rolex and C, Oris at A, what's going on? Look, it's just our opinion.
Yeah. Think
Obviously,
about
we
why
can.
we do this as well. It's where we are.
Yeah, exactly. It's where we are. So cool. All right,
All right.
mate. What's next?
I'm going to find S tier, or what I think is an S tier, which I think is Christopher Ward. I think Christopher Ward's probably done the most in terms of a single brand in, as well, for as long as I can remember in watches, really. I think from where they started, looking back when I started collecting and being where they were in terms of design, all the way down to the logo itself and the watches, to where they are now, all the way from website to range of watches to materials to some of their upper end stuff now. Like you said, being on Qantas commercials or Qantas screens or
It
whatever it was,
was
Emirates.
Emirates. Yeah.
Yeah, being on Emirates commercials. I think
Wild.
they've had the biggest shift, stayed relatively in the same lane as that they were at the start. They've had a lot of design change over time for the better, I think. I think where they are now, they're projected to be along. I think they're going to do very well in the future. I think we're going to see them take leaps and bounds into a lot more pricier range. But
Yep.
from looking back at some of their old stuff with the old logo to what the Bel Canto is, like name another brand that's had that much of a polarizing shift from being a micro. Don't talk about Omega and their Chrono Chime and
Yes.
down to their whatever their lower end stuff is. But think about micros, how much community influence they've had, how much they've either started or followed trends or contributed to trends. I just think Christopher Ward, yeah, they don't get a lot of hate. People get angry about price, but people get angry about the price of apples.
Yeah.
Everything's going up. You can't do anything about it. But when you look at what the 12 is compared to some of their older models, yeah, they're going to get more expensive. Look at that Aventurine Moonphase dial that they had. There's no way you're going to price that down at the same price as a Sealander. It's just, it is what it is. They're taking the natural progression as a brand, but I think they're doing everything right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, they've just celebrated their 20-year anniversary, and like you say, the leaps and bounds that they've taken from where they were to now is insane. Like, it's such a huge jump. I mean, I'm just again, I don't like to do comparisons, but I just want to know when did Zelos start? How many years has it been since
They're celebrating their 10-year this month.
10-year anniversary. So in 10 years, so you are, let's see if Zelos or companies like that, what they do in 10 years. Christopher Ward's really just gone from strength to strength to strength to strength. Yes, they have their, they have their watches that I feel like still respects or still captures what used to be their core audience, which is that sort of really, bang for buck, affordable divers and sort of, GMTs, sport watches, and also some, I guess military sort of style watches as well. And they have these sort of higher end stuff, like you say, your Bel Canto, your 12, your, full titanium, showing all this, double barrel, all this cool stuff. But I think for me personally, I think it can definitely coexist. They can definitely have this, which is their core selling stuff, and they can still have their sort of, this is our showcase piece. What do they call it? We can show that we can do some cool stuff. I mean, if you want the 12, it's going to cost you 2.6k Aussie dollars, which is 40 mil integrated titanium. But if you want this 12x, which is the really fancy one with all this sort of stuff in it, it's going to cost you 6.5 grand. You don't have to buy that one. You can still get this one. There's obviously, like you said, prices in general have gone up, but in saying that, you can still get some really, value for money for what you get. I mean, I kind of compare Oris and Christopher Ward in some ways, like in terms of I feel like quality wise or, finish wise, Oris still beats Christopher Ward in my opinion anyway. But
100 years of extra experience there.
Exactly. Yeah. but in saying that, like, Christopher Ward as a micro brand, I'm really, they're different now. They're just very much stand out by themselves. So yeah, great pick there. Is there anything that you would say, not quite, any criticism at all? Obviously we're going to go, you said S tier, but any criticism at all?
I actually don't have criticism about Christopher Ward. With the price thing, like it's not even a criticism. I agree with the price Christopher Ward has their watches at. They do have sales here and there where you can pick up something a lot cheaper. Be patient. Stuff appears in forums and marketplace. They're not a hard to get watch. They're pretty. I think Christopher Ward's actually pretty saturated. You see them everywhere.
In the watch community anyway.
In the watch community, yeah. But I don't really have criticism on Christopher Ward. I think if you look at some of this, like, when I go look at Christopher Ward, the stuff I click on is around that $1,000 mark, between 900 and 1,300 type thing. And I think looking back at Christopher Ward, the price jump's completely justified for what you're getting nowadays. When you think of, go back to when I bought my Seiko Turtle Save the Ocean with the shark fin dial, what I paid for retail for that and what it's worth now for retail, with absolutely no change in the watch itself apart from sapphire crystal for the King version and what is it called, a Cyclops.
What
are you complaining about here? You'll go to bat for Seiko because it's at $800, but you won't. You'll go at Christopher Ward because they're $1,000 because it doesn't fit your price range.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I'm looking at the C63 Sealander GMT, the exact same one that I have, right?
Hmm.
Which is just so I can look. You're looking at 1,700 Aussie dollars right now with the bracelet and everything else. Look, for the watch, what you get, retail, I actually think that's a pretty good value for money there. You know, it's well made. Definitely, like I think I've compared it to some other bigger brands, which may not be quite fair, but you know, the movement is again, it's a Selena movement, but it's a good movement. It's a 332, which is, you know, such a probably one of the best movements that I've like hand wound. I've hand
Yep.
wound like other more expensive movements, and it just doesn't feel as good as this. I don't know why. It just feels so smooth, which is a strange one. So anyway,
And
yeah, definitely a good piece.
I think people get hung up on this whole price thing, and I'm getting hung up on it now because
Mm.
I struggle to understand it. But when you talk, what do you say, 1,700
Yeah,
for that
Aussie
watch?
dollars. Yeah.
1,700 for that watch. People go, well, I want my 1,700 bucks worth of watch said to me. Like they want that. That's the price they're expecting their watch to feel like. But you got to forget, like it's a business.
Mm.
The business you work for is trying to make money. The
Mm.
business that you buy your food from is trying to make money. The business that you buy your shoes from make money. The watch companies are just the same. Just because it is a luxury item that you might be dropping your credit card on to buy
Yeah.
this luxury item, doesn't mean you're getting that $1,700 in physical value. There's more to it. It's a business.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, I'm just being playing like devil's sort of
Yeah,
advocate.
yeah.
If you're looking at like, you know, if you're looking at let's go and grab like a what do you call those entry level tags at Mazzucchelli's. I mean, how much are you
You
looking
get
to pay?
Formula Ones, Aquila, minimum 3.5. I think. I don't think you'd see one cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's not cheap. And for me anyway, like, you know, you're not exactly I don't think you're getting a big difference, don't you think? Like in terms of quality. I mean, you can. I mean, you've had a tag.
Yep.
So for me, you know what you get. I don't think it's a massive difference in terms of quality wise, and you get something a bit more unique as well.
Oh, despite quality, you are getting something with tag. You're getting something boring. That's let's face it. Unless you go for the upper end tiers, like if you
Yeah.
just go to the Carreras, which are their kind of dress slash sporty steel watch,
Mm.
to get a Carrera 29 millimeter steel caliber 5 movement, 3,950. Now I've
Yeah.
had a caliber 5 as well. I got it for an absolute steal off marketplace years ago. It was like 2 grand. I
Mm.
had a white dial with like eccentric circles, stainless steel with gold like gilt style,
Mm.
and it was a gorgeous watch. I really loved it, and
Mm.
it was a big part of my collecting. But if you had told me brand new they were 5,250, which is the same price I paid for my Tudor, yeah, they don't compete.
No, for sure, for sure. Okay, well, S tier, A tier. What do you think after all that discussion about it?
I think S tier, to be honest, because I also think they're not done. I think they've got a lot to go,
Okay.
and I just
Just from potential, you think of the S tier.
yeah, and what they've done, like if you look back at Christopher Ward and look, because some of their watches, let's not lie about it, they were ugly back in the day
Yeah.
with some of their designs. If you
Yeah.
had a told, if you show someone take the logo off the dial, what a Christopher Ward used to look like and
Mm.
what they used to cost, you'd be like, ugh,
Yeah, you wouldn't really say that. And also, you know, and I think just before we sort of move on, you know, they do have, you know, for example, the C63 Sealander GMT, you know, they don't shy away from it for the fact that it is a Rolex design. You know,
yeah,
it's an
yeah,
old school
yep,
design. But I mean, they even say that they talk about it. They talk about Explorer and they talk about the fact that they took, you know, it's inspired by these famous Explorer watches. Like they don't hide it. They just say, yeah, this is what it is, but this is our take on it, which I
yeah,
think is cool. And at the end of the day, what you can only like you always say this to me, like there's only so much space between your wrists
yeah,
that you can change and you can do. So I think you know, so maybe someone might say, hey, are we considering them S tier? You know, they take designs off other, yeah, maybe, but I think like you said, they've moved on. You know, not to say completely, but they're definitely going strength to strength and they're bringing in their own
yeah.
stuff. Mm.
And are you going to say because it's got a moon phase, it's homaging the first moon phase? No, it looks completely different. Like, and you're
Yeah.
allowed to homage stuff. It's not a one-for-one copy of the Explorer 2. It's got the same colorway. It's got that style bezel, right? But it's a nod to a incredibly historic watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and a lot of watches are that.
Yeah. Awesome. For sure. All right. Let's move on. I don't know how many have we got so far? So we got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I've got We've got a fair bit.
I reckon this is a to be continued episode. Like
I feel
just add
like
on
it.
to it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is just a part one. So I think I'll go a micro.
Yep.
It's I should really I'm gonna pick apart my own collection here. So I'm gonna go and say Halios. Okay, so
All right.
Halios, right. Halios is a brand that I've spoken about before, and I have the Seaforth, which is a awesome dive watch, which I really enjoy. It's a Canadian micro brand. It is also it's an old micro brand by many means. I'm not really sure how long they've been around for, but they've been around for almost 20 years. I would no, maybe not 20
Yep.
years. When did they first release? Oh, a while, okay. Just let's just say they were one of the OGs in that sort of space. I think that, but not quite Christopher Ward, but they've been around for a while.
Yep.
I really enjoy this watch. It's got a lot of elements of what I think is a proper dive watch. It's clear, it's legible. It's got a pretty decent movement in it as well, and a Salida movements in it. It's well built, solid. You name it. It's got everything in there. This is not about the watch itself, though. It's about the brand.
Yep.
There's You can't talk Halios without talking about their unfortunately their their not so great buying
System.
system, which is really hard to decipher and does change as well, which is just tough and hard to get their watches as well. I mean, for those who don't know, it's it was like a lottery, right? Basically. So
Hmm.
you put in you basically you sign up. You put your email, it's an email address thing. You put your email address in, sign up and say, yeah, I'm interested in buying a watch, whether it be. So, hey, is it Rolex? No, not quite. But you put your name in there, and then when he basically gets all the prototypes and everything sorted and he goes, okay, now I'm ready to sort of produce them, he has produced enough already, he will then pick a name out of the hat, or he'll pick several names out of the hats, or however he does it, and then he sends it out to the people, and then yeah, and then basically you go, okay, cool, I now have interest. I've got the buying page, and then I can just go and buy it. So that's his system, right? That's how they did it.
Well, I'm just going to cut you off.
Tell me.
In red writing on the Halios website,
Hmm.
the Series 4 restock is coming late 24 and limited time pre-order.
Pre-order.
So
Yes.
no more lottery system. So you can't miss out, but you got to wait for your watch if you do a pre-order. This, I'll be honest with you as well. Halios has been the lottery system that you're talking about. It's different to what we're talking about with Zelos and how they work. They just have here's 300 watches, first in, best dressed.
Yep.
The lottery system, I feel, it is different to that, similar
Yep.
in ways, but different. But I always had a chance at getting something on the day that it comes out with Zelos. And Halios really does speak to me as a brand. It always has. I
Yep.
really like the watches. They got the cult following. They're always talked highly about in the forums, apart from the lottery system. This changes my whole go on Halios now. Like this really makes it an easier decision if I wanted to buy one, which now
A
seeing that,
pre-order.
I do think, like, I don't mind waiting for watches. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But seeing that, like, I've actually kind of put that in my head now.
Yeah.
Not that I should be buying anything at the moment, but like that's a huge change of difference in the brand. If they're doing that sort of setup now,
Yeah.
opposed to lottery.
It does. But what I think the criticism that they cop, or they have copped, and they probably still continue to cop, is that that system has evolved, has changed. They've had this
Mm,
lottery, they've had this, and now it's this now. And the thing is, they don't really at most micro brands, that one of the good, or one of the great points about being a micro brand is that the owners normally interact with their customers a lot. They give
yep.
updates, they do this, do that. It really makes you feel part of the journey. Halios are not as great. I mean, you look at this website. This is not a
It's
great website.
it's basic, yeah, real
It's not a
basic.
great website. There's not a lot in there. There's not a lot of great photos in there. It's not like, it's one of those, like, if you know, really that kind of brand. And the thing is, they have done great watches for me a long time. But the thing is, for someone that just goes, hey, I want to buy a watch, I want to get on and buy a watch, you just can't do that as easy. And it is a one-man band. He does, you
Yeah.
know, does a lot of it by himself. And I think he's happy with that. He doesn't really want to expand it and make it a
Yeah.
massive thing, like say what Christopher Ward does or whatever. He's happy with that. He's very
You,
much, this is my lane and I'm going to stick to this.
you want more watches, you want more production. Well, there's your price increase that you're going to whinge about in 6 months' time. And
Exactly.
also, to those people that whinge about this like lottery system as well, go look at the watch, go research the watch on Facebook, on forums, have a look at what the feedback is on the Halios itself. Just the watch. Forget about the lottery system. And then take that, go invest your savings into a company that can produce a watch when you want it for the masses and figure it out in the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's gonna do it, but like think about, like you just said, one man band. And if the watches have this cult following and this feedback they get with a website like this and less interaction with the owner and the brand itself, that the watches are great. Like, they've got that reputation.
In saying that though, like in saying that, so obviously I received one of those emails. I was one of the lucky persons to receive it, and I bought it. But the thing is, I wanted something slightly different from what he had. He had, if you want a black dial, you can get it, not quite ready yet. You can only get these two at the moment, but send me an email and we'll see how we go or something like that. So I had a little back and forth with Jason and I said, hey, look, I would love to get a black dial. That's what I really want, but I want stainless steel. He said, oh, look, I'm not quite sure. And then they basically said, look, I do have some black dials. Just let me know, and go, and I was kind of like, oh, I want to order it because I know that it's a short window, like, as in, I want to make sure I get my order in. But then he said,
Yep.
oh, look, no rush, mate. No rush in placing the order. You won that lottery. It's yours. Like, you're interested in it. All good. And we had several emails back and forth, and it was a good interaction, and it was there. And so it's not like, I don't want to say or make it sound like, he doesn't interact with his customers. He does, but he's a busy guy, and
As we
he
all are.
doesn't. Yeah, and maybe is it worth saying, hey, maybe you should get one more person in and do the
Yeah.
comms for him. Maybe that helps. And for me, I think in terms of brand recognition or sort of, brand communication and stuff, having that can help. And, this is, that is, genuine criticism in sincere criticism. If I feel like if there is someone else there, then it maybe helps him streamline and he can worry about production. He doesn't have to worry about emailing every single person back and doing that. He can do that. And also, he does have a Discord, which is like I don't know if anyone knows what Discord is, but basically, a lot of people who play games use that. But it's like a channel, people can chat in it. He does have a Discord and he gives updates. He sends like, here's my prototype of this dial. And it's awesome. And I'm on it and I love it because I scroll through and I'm like, oh yes, that looks great. That's gonna be my next person or whatever it
Yeah.
is, So there are ways to communicating it. But in saying that, it's not great. It's not like you're looking at all these other watch brands that there's so much more. They talk to media, they talk to, podcasts like us. They talk to people. They want to let people know, hey, this is us, this is what we do, and we're trying to sell this. In many ways, it's almost like, does he even want to sell
Yeah.
watches? Yeah, which is a bit, I don't know. I mean, because he does sell watches because he's got like a cult following, like almost
Yeah.
like Zelos. He's got that, but I don't know. It's just a bit strange. Yeah. So, like again, I can't fault the watch, but the brand, as a whole and all these other things that I do can have a big improvement there.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I agree. I agree. I don't have too much to do with how else apart from YouTube videos and then seeing your Seaforth.
Yeah,
But I'm a big fan of the watch itself.
sure. And I think they copped a lot as well from Jody about price increases and the
Yeah, they
like.
did. Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't really subscribe to that. I don't think it's unjustified. It's price increases across almost every watch brand
Exactly.
out there. He tries to do a lot himself, and he picks specific dial maker to make this sort of enamel lacquered dial. He goes to this person. There's a lot more involved in that, and I think that all happens. And again, it's very small batch stuff as well. So the like supply demand. There's more
Yeah.
units you're going to sell, the more units that you can purchase from the manufacturer. Of
Yeah.
course, per unit cost is going to go down. It's simple, really math, I think.
And like you said, you could buy a Pagani back in the day, for $100 on AliExpress, whatever they come from, $100. And now they're 150. That's a huge percentage jump in inflation, but not a lot of money jump.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of looking at it to understand
Mm.
you don't always have to know, like, understand why it's happening. You just got to understand, like, it happens for a reason. But do your comparisons.
Yeah, for sure.
I look
And
at
look,
strawberries. I bought strawberries yesterday, and during one season you pay like $1.90 on a sale from Woolies, and now they're $6.50 for the same punnet, the same amount of strawberries, the same weight. No one asks why strawberries go up. They just know it's part of life.
yeah. Oh, but that's, oh, I don't know. That's a bit of greedflation.
Oh,
Again, we won't
100%.
we
Yeah,
won't go
definitely.
into that. But
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna get strawberries, go get it from your markets, man. Honestly, worth it. Go to the markets.
Yeah.
Go to your little
For your
farmer
Perth
spots.
people,
Yeah.
Keller's Market in the Swan Valley is amazing, and you
Okay.
get beautiful coffee there too.
Nice. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, there's yeah. All right. There you go. Sounds good. I might need to check it out one of these days. So yeah, I look.
So
I'm gonna put Halios in B category for
yeah,
me.
I was gonna say around the B to the high A as well.
Yeah, it's good, great watches. Like I'm not nothing I can fault. Like I absolutely love this C4th. It's like it is one of my favorites in my collection. But yeah, as a brand, and and same thing. Like what we're talking about Rolex as well. Fantastic watches, of course, but there's so much out there. They're like, ugh,
Yep.
it could just be better. So cool. All
Well,
right,
should you
we'll
want to do something
probably.
interesting and continue this
I think
another
so.
day?
I think so. Look, we're going to call this the Watch Tier List Part 1. We'll do another one, another day. We're going to save this list, though. I'm going to find a software or something that we can just add to it as we go. And then we'll also make it so that the listeners, you guys can just click on it and check out our list as well. And we'll go from there. Cool. Let's do something interesting. Since you said it, kick it off, mate.
Yep. I got two things. So one, real quick, on the weekend, I went to Disney on Ice, part of my
Nice.
son's birthday. Real cool. As the lights were doing their thing and moving around, there was a gentleman sat a couple of rows in front of me. I didn't speak to him or anything like that, but he was wearing an AP on his wrist, and I think it looked legit. Yeah, he was in good seats, that's for sure. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool. He was he was quite well presented, well dressed up. He didn't look familiar, so to me, anyone I met in Red Bar wasn't them. But it's not every day you see an AP. Could be a knockoff. Who knows? I didn't get that good of a look at it, but it definitely had a AP on the dial. So that was cool to see in a place where I was just like, oh, all we're going to see is toddlers coughing and sneezing all night. And I didn't even wear a watch, to be honest. I was in that much of a rush to get there. I just hadn't
Damn.
put one on,
I feel
which is
naked
fine.
nowadays.
I know, yeah. I was wearing a jacket which kind of had a longer sleeve, and I didn't notice it until I was in the car and I put my left hand up on the steering wheel. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that seems very light. Anyway, but yeah, that was something cool.
Yeah.
Other than
Nice.
cool, the other day I went and watched The Fall Guy or Fall Guys in the movies. Ryan Reynolds movie. Don't mind Ryan Reynolds. I think he's got a cool, castability from
Yeah.
he played Pikachu in Detective Pikachu all the way to Deadpool, and he was in Barbie recently. His role in Barbie was actually really cool. I enjoyed him in that. He played Ken, in case you haven't watched it a couple of times like me, Praka.
I haven't actually seen it. I
Look,
haven't seen it. I would like to actually. I haven't, to be honest, man. I don't think I can't remember the last time I went to the movies. I just don't go to movies at all.
no, we
I'll
love
wait till
movies in this house.
my little my I'll wait till my little guy is a bit older and then
Yeah.
we'll start going. But yeah,
No,
go on. Yep.
anyway, in the Fall Guys, yeah, Ryan Reynolds plays the main character in it. He does. It's a slow movie to get into. I'd never seen the original TV series that it was based off of, but I've started watching it since. That run from 1981 to 86, so that's actually a big show,
Oh, wow.
and it's really good too. In the movie, Ryan Reynolds is a tag guy, so he is rocking a Carrera, and there's all these wicked car jump scenes. So he's the Fall Guy in movies. So he's the stunt man, and he's jumping motorbikes, he's flipping cars. There's a scene where he's in this kind of Baja truck on a beach, and he's rolled it, and you see him spinning around, and then you see the deflector off the tag Carrera there. There's a scene where he's jumping like a Baja truck across a gorge, and there's so much. If you actually go and watch it and deep it, there is a lot of tag in that movie.
I just want to. We're talking about Ryan Gosling here, right?
Oh, no, is it Ryan Reynolds or is it Gosling?
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, God, I haven't made that one up.
Because he's the tag guy. He's the one who wears tags all the time.
Maybe it is Gosling.
They're both like two
Gosling, you are right. You are right.
Very handsome Hollywood superstars. So yeah.
Oh, shit, you're going to have to cut that because I'm going to seem like an idiot on that one. No, it is Gosling. Gosling.
It's gone. I'm not getting rid of it now. It's in there. No.
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, though, isn't he?
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. So you were right there. It's just yes. You basically described everything that Ryan Gosling was, and I was kind of like Barbie. I didn't know that he was in Barbie, but then he kept saying Tag, and I'm like, nah, Tag is definitely Ryan Gosling because he's like the Tag. What's his name?
Ambassador.
Ambassador. Yeah.
Is
Nice.
he Detective Pikachu or what? Is that Gosling or is that Reynolds? Let's have a look. I think that's Reynolds.
That's Reynolds.
That's Reynolds, yeah. And they weirdly look sort of similar if they had the same haircut.
Like I said, they're two very handsome Hollywood superstars. So it's yeah, man. Look, man, whatever.
It's a Monday, not a Thursday night, guys. I'm barely awake.
Awesome,
Anyway,
fantastic,
the
cool.
tag shots were sick. Some of the
Was
motorcycle,
it?
there was a boat jumping through fire. It was really cool. Great advertising of Tag. Like we just kind of talked down about Tag a little bit, but
Yeah,
their placement in that movie was amazing. The watch looked great. It did what it was supposed to do. It was in all the car scenes. It was cool.
awesome. All right, cool. Well, I will do my something interesting, and it is also about tag.
Oh,
So on the weekend, maybe a bit before the weekend, no, last week sometime, I had a great lunch with my wife, and we had a bit of a date ourselves, which is fantastic, and decided that after that went a bit shopping, and I thought, oh, I might just pop into the Tag AD, and I tried on the glass box.
oh, cool.
Uh,
Very cool.
yeah, so I think we spoke about the glass box. Cover we seem to have, and yeah, it was awesome. Like it wore really well on my wrist, and it looked really solid, really well built, and like it's one of those watches where I'm like, yeah, can you see that on my, yeah, I thought,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
that's
sort of
beautiful, man.
yeah, yeah, it's a great color as well. I wore the reverse panda, and what do you say? I guess I also wanted to say like my experience there was cool. Like, the guy was very knowledgeable about the watch, and he sort of explained about it, and said, yeah. I said, oh, look, I'd like to try that on. It's like, yeah, sure, no worries. And try this on, and you want to, yeah, no, it was a different experience from what I have had before in previous sort of shops
Yep.
like this. So, credit to Tag in Karana, which I thought was cool. And yeah, I just thought it's a nice little watch. Oh, I wouldn't pay the money that they're
Yeah.
asking for it, for sure. Well,
What was
that
on
is
the wrist when you went in?
my
What'd you wear?
Halios. My
It was had it.
Halios.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, had it on the sort of what's that, the paratrooper strap.
Yep.
So that,
Very
but
cool.
yeah, definitely it was an awesome piece. So that was that, and then I also wanted to give a little shout out to a Canadian Kickstarter micro called Wayforth watches, which is, yeah, look, they had a competition, and I was lucky enough to snag one of these, and I was really pleasantly surprised. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything bad or anything like that, but chucking on the wrist, I was like, man, this is really well built. It's a 40 mil chronograph, and it's full tacky and everything else. And there's also got the inner rotating bezel for a dual time. Yeah, it's got a lot in it, and it just wears pretty well as
It
well.
looks way better in a wrist shot than the
Press
images on the
shots.
internet. Yeah. 100%.
Unfortunately, a lot of these press shots, like you always say, it's just not that great. But no, and the owner as well, Stephen is a great guy. Like, we've been having chats back and forth. He had some, as you do with any startups, you might have some production issues, and got to fix this, fix that. He sort of, he didn't need to. Look, I wasn't like a paying customer by any means in this. I want a competition, but he always kept me posted in what's happening, and hey, look, can I, is it okay? There was this issue with it. I can send you this. I can do that. I always give me these options, and I thought, this is fantastic, and I thought it was a great experience to have with the owner, and anyone out there
Yeah.
looking for a well-built micro brand chronograph that doesn't hurt the wallet, and it looks good too. I thought the design is awesome. Yeah, check them out. I'll leave a link obviously in the show notes, and people can check it out.
Yeah, you're the only person I've ever met to have won a competition. Like, I feel like they never happens, but now I know someone.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, got real lucky with that one.
Yeah.
So no, but definitely a great watch to have, and it's been a while since I had a yellow piece in my collection. So
Yeah, true.
I'm glad to have it back. The last one was the RZE, which was awesome as well.
That was
But
time ago as well.
yeah, almost a year and a half or something.
Yep.
Anyway, in this game, in
Awesome.
the watch game, it's a very short time.
No,
Sorry,
very
very
cool.
long time. All right. Well, anyway, let's wrap it up there. Great concept, I think we did today.
Yep.
So let's continue this, and if there's nothing else, we'll catch you next time.
All good, mate. Take care.
Cheers. See ya.
Thank you for joining us on Overtime the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can find us on our Instagrams at Overtime the Podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, and at Horology Capture.
We appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please hit us up. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time.